Now, Assent Forward Care. Biggest myths about Assent Forward Care is that it is NCR all the time. It is slow, inefficient, and waste time. You're never pushing past discomfort. If a client twitches, then you back off for the next 2.5 weeks. It's always sunshine and rainbows. And the biggest one that I find is that Assent Forward Care is always extinction-free, meaning extinction is never a component in an intervention plan. Well, I'm here to tell you that if you don't do NCR all the time, think you make fast progress with behavior reduction, encourage your clients to do hard things that suck sometimes, and work hard, and they're not sunshine and rainbows, you can still be doing Assent Forward Care. The other thing I will say is that Assent Forward Care is not a list of checkable procedures. I think I have this. Oh, did I take it out? I shouldn't have taken it. Oh, I know where it is. It's later in the presentation. But Assent Forward Care is not a, if you're doing this intervention, then you're doing Assent Forward Care. If you're doing this, then you're not. It is an individual application of a framework. Is this intervention being assented to? A great example of this is the laundry. I hate the laundry. I despise it. Like I hate doing laundry. And my wife and I share that responsibility. It's a shared chore between us. So we're both putting loads in, we're both taking it out, and we're both folding. Spoiler, she also hates laundry. So it's a shared hate. And we have 3 kids, so we can't get away from it. But you know what I do like is laying in bed and watching The Office with her. But unfortunately, the laundry is on the bed. So I will do something that I don't like. I will do something that I will grumble through. I will do something that I will be mildly annoyed about that will suck because I want that thing that happens next, watching The Office and relaxing. That's an example of doing something you don't want to do because of a later reinforcer. Weightlifting, going on runs, saving money for retirement. There are plenty of things that we do that are delayed gratification, tolerating something sucky now to get something better later on. Assent Forward Care does allow our clients that same right, the right to be uncomfortable in service of a larger goal, which is why Assent Forward Care is not just backing off as soon as anybody gets uncomfortable. Assent Forward Care does not always mean nobody's crying. It does mean that the client is choosing to be in the position that they're in. And finally, on the extinction note, extinction is a crucial part of any learning process. The shaping process, when we work to shape language up, it involves not reinforcing certain smaller language and then reinforcing other future language. If we are learning how to tolerate hard things, it involves not reinforcing a time of 10 seconds and reinforcing a time of 15 seconds. Those are all mini extinctions. I will say in general that blatant full-on extinction is typically not in this world of Assent Forward Care, but not because it's not not because there's an assent issue, but typically because it's too risky. And that risk comes in when we talk about trauma-informed care. So extinction is a quote unquote assent possible procedure. You just have to apply it individually. The example here of the therapist's office, I'll skip through it in a second. Imagine if you went to your therapist, you sat down in the chair, and as soon as you sat down, little claws grabbed your legs and arms, and they said, "Tell me about your day." That would be super weird, right? You would obviously want to leave that area. Why allow yourself to leave a therapeutic area and not allow your clients to? Once again, I'm gonna give a brief shout out to the school community and the classroom. I have a crap ton of content on assent withdrawal, assent removal, terminating sessions contingent on assent, what to do if assent is removed. So I encourage you to look up assent if you have further questions. There's tons of research in there, or tons of research and content. So We know what assent forward care isn't. What is it? It's taking steps together, holding somebody's hand, putting your arm around them, and taking the step at the same time of them instead of pushing or pulling. It's client-led and therapist-encouraged. Therapist-encouraged is really important here. Assent-forward care does not mean we wait for the client to make the first move on every single component. It means that us, as their trusted partners and friends, are encouraging them and giving our opinion, essentially, about what they can do. And they're getting that information and then taking steps because they believe it as well, right? They are moving towards something that's hard because they believe that there is a larger reinforcer later, or they've experienced it themselves. It's analytical and systematic. There has been, anytime I've gone any true assent forward care program, especially something where we're shaping a tolerating behavior up, we are going in 5-second, 10-second increments. We are moving slowly and steadily in a way that you simply wouldn't do if you were doing an extinction-based procedure where you just said, sit in this chair until the lecture is done by your teacher, right? There is no analytic there. It is, did they do it or did they not? Whereas a assent forward care is a much more gradual, slow process. Flexible and changing with daily variables, and prone to intervention changes. This means changing your shaping steps or your process daily instead of a 5-day extinction burst. What that means for BCBAs is we need to have a methodology and a strategy for continually reevaluating where our clients are at and what progress they've made with their goals. That means, and the insurance companies are going to hate me for saying this, but maybe we need 2 behavior reduction goals that really matter versus 7 that it's just fill the behavior plan, right? Maybe we need the primary behavior reduction goals. And I've written primary goals and secondary goals and plans before to be the ones that are going to cause the biggest impact in quality of life. And those are the ones we're spending analyzing while we're tracking the others. Not to say that they're the only ones we're going to reduce, but that's our focus, right? Because I can tell you from experience, you cannot provide the necessary level of analysis and care to a client across 20 different behavior reduction interventions that operate separately. You have to specifically focus on the ones that are really going to move the needle on quality of life and put the other ones secondary. What does assent look like? Well, assent could look like walking towards a work task, reaching for a pencil, shifting body or attention to a technician, while assent withdrawal is the replacement or the opposite of that, a clear indicator of choice away from an option. Assent provision does not look the same for every client. Oftentimes when I see assent in behavior plans that I review, I can tell it's copy and pasted by the organization, right? Assent is walking their way to the table and sitting down independently. Well, I would walk to the table and sit down independently if somebody was threatening me by hurting my family, right? Is that assent provision? Well, no, obviously that is a compelled, coercive situation. So once again, I want to point out small definition things. Uncompelled is important here. Coercion absolutely exists, and we'll get into this in degrees of freedom towards the end, but telling somebody that the only way they can get their one reinforcer that they really want is by doing one thing is not assent. Even if they do it independently, it's a coercive situation. So how can we measure this? Because assent is not something that, well, you do have to teach assent in some cases. There are plenty of situations where you're shaping up assent withdrawal behaviors. Once again, that's a later CEU. But essentially, when it comes to staying within our guardrails, to me, it was all about measurement. What are the consistent ways that I am measuring and assessing assent, not just for one client, but across my caseload so that I can manage 12 different clients with 12 different behavior plans? Well, first, we can look at degrees of freedom. asterisk. We're going to talk about that towards the end of the presentation. But we need to know what our baseline policies are and our individual behavior plans. A great example of this is having an outside space or a playground with high quality reinforcement always available. Does that mean that your client will spend all day in the playground? Well, it might, but that probably means that all of your interventions suck. And there's a reason why they're trying to avoid them. So let's think about changing those. Does that mean that every single client will never do any work? No, of course not. We know with plenty of research, plenty of practical application, that clients who have goals that they are wanting to complete and interventions that they assent to are more than happy and willing to assent those interventions. So clinic-wide, maybe this is a policy, something where no matter what, these are places that are available to take a break to. Oftentimes you see these in like sensory rooms. Caseload-wise, when I think about caseload, I think about the techs under me. Now, I know my school folks won't have that luxury. That's a whole different world over there with teachers and things like that. But this concept is still here. We need to train the folks with our clients the concept of tapping out, living to fight another day, not worrying about non-boundary related challenges, and knowing when a boundary needs to be upheld due to safety, right? Knowing when something is worth upholding and something is not. This to me comes in a staff training, right? This is not something I would write in a behavior plan. This is something I would pull all of the RBTs and I would say, when you're with my clients, these are the things that I want you to tap out. And these are different examples. Now, what would you do if this situation, right? This is the staff training exercise where we're empowering staff to know when to tap out and know when to follow through so that we don't have situations where we're requiring a kid to be in a location because of some weird power trip that somebody wanted to go on. Now, client specific. When it comes to client specific, this is when you look at momentary time sampling. This is a baseline protocol that I put forward in all of my clients that I work with. It's not, it is individualized in the definitions of what assent is, but typically there's a little momentary time sampling button, and every 15 minutes that sucker pops, 30 minutes it pops and says, is assent provision currently being provided? Yes or no? Simple as that. There's no assent withdrawal. There's no more complicated than that. Assent provision behaviors are listed on one side. Examples of what to look for are right underneath it. Is this happening? Yes or no? If yes, then continue. This is the type of tracking that I put into place after the potty training incident with that parent, and it was incredibly illuminating. We instantly saw that we were getting assent provision for potty training and assent withdrawal everywhere else. And when we were modifying our potty training intervention, this is the data that we looked at to think we are going or we are not going in the right direction. Any questions about that list? I know assent forward care can kind of get murky when it talks about application.